Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Aimee Gerdevich, and I am a volunteer and outreach officer with Canada Revenue Agency. I've been with the department almost 32 years, and that in a lot of different roles, specifically doing outreach and education and this type of work in that the last 5 years, and by far my favorite role altogether. The main thing of what we're going to talk about is scams and fraud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take you to the canada.ca website, show you a number of the different resources that are there. We also run a ton of webinars throughout the year that are open to individuals to be able to register to get additional information. So it would be specific to CRA communications, and I will take you through the pages to show you that information as well, how to verify, right? If you're getting a call or an email or this type of thing, how do you know for sure it's really somebody from CRA, right? Because scammers, hackers, the whole bit, they are in tune and they know when different things happen because we have a very predictable year. We have certain benefit payments that go out at the same time. We have a filing deadline for our income tax at the end of April every year, right? They also know when we do different matching verifications, this type of thing. So when there may be reassessments coming out. And so the next thing you know, you may be getting a text saying, hey, this is Canada Revenue Agency. We've reviewed your income tax return and realized that because you missed this or you missed that. Please click here, right, to deposit your extra refund that you're entitled to. So it's knowing automatically those types of things and that are fake because if CRA is going to send you money at all, there's only two ways. Either direct deposit into your bank account and you've already provided that banking information, or we're going to send you the mail to the address that we have on file for you. If it's the wrong address, we don't know that it's the wrong address and that we're just going to send it out to the address that we have. It'll come back to us or what have you. Same thing with your banking information. But we won't call you to say, oh, you're entitled to this extra refund and that. We just want to make sure that, this is still your bank account and that before we direct deposit it. I've heard those types of scam situations happen. And so it isn't always oh, you owe money and you've got to pay now, and they're mean and they're harsh and they're trying to scare you. Sometimes they're trying to butter you up and sweeten you up and that with the offer of extra money. And, at different times of year and with the way that, everything is right now with our economy, who isn't, kind of open to, and they usually don't make it big, huge sums of money. It's not thousands of dollars, but anywhere from $300 to $700, that seems kind of reasonable depending on your situation. And who wouldn't want a little bit of extra that to be able to pay against bills? So they'll try to sweeten you up and butter you up with that to get that banking information, right? Because they'll say, oh, are you still with TD? And you go, no, I'm not with TD. I'm with Bank of Montreal. And the next thing you know, you've given them all the information and this type of thing because, it sounds, you're all excited, right? Some people are. So there are many, many different tactics with it, whether it's email, phone calls, text messages, those types of things. But I'm going to take you to the website. And so this is the main landing page, all Government of Canada departments. And so depending on the time of year, this does change. I can scroll down and through to many different topics. You'll notice, though, that there isn't one specifically on scams and fraud, but under money and finances, it has fraud protection. So we are going to go into a couple of different places, but just while we're here, show you what this main page looks like. So there's also the focus on the different departments. Again, depending on the time of year, there are different main current government initiatives which have quick links to be able to take you to different information that may be relevant at that time. And then, of course, all the usual thumbnails to be able to get to other things on the bottom. But so I'm just going to scroll back up here, and I'm going to try and do it not too quickly. And I'm going to take you into the money and finances one, only because that's the only option off that first page that actually says anything about scams or fraud, right? So if somebody was looking at it and didn't use the search function, this is what I'm thinking, okay, where would you go, right, to find that? Okay, it mentions it here in this page. So under this page, in that you will see it has a most requested, again, similar to the first page, different services and information. And then you'll see it has protection from frauds and scams. It does also have different tools because it's, money and finances, but things with regards to taxes and government finances and that. But we're just going to take a peek in here. So this then takes you, and we're still in the canada.ca main section per the search function here. The whole idea is helping you to protect your identity, identify types of fraud, counterfeit money, and of course, any other threats or scams. And a lot of the different departments will put out alerts if they become aware of really credible scams or any kind of fraud attempts or this type of thing. We saw it when the grocery rebate came out earlier this summer. And that, of course, I, on my personal phone and my work phone, started getting the text messages saying, hey, you're eligible for the grocery rebate. Please click here to deposit the amount that you're entitled to, or this type of thing. And I'm just like, yeah, they're still at it. Again, knowing that CRA will not communicate with you that way. We do, for signing into our online services for my account or that kind of thing, there is a multi-factor or two-tier authentication that we use to try and ensure that we're keeping your information secure and safe. So we will either text or email you a code to put in when you're signing in at that moment, but we do not communicate in this way. Just as an FYI, but again, I will take you to the page where it talks about what you expect when CRA contacts you. So as you're going down here as well, you'll see the contributors. And so these are the different federal departments that have contributed to the information on this page. So the RCMP, Financial Consumer Agency, IRCC, Public Safety, and the Competition Bureau. And that's because there is a lot of different attempts to particular segments of the population too. So they'll target newcomers, right? Or they'll target seniors, or they'll target international students with particular types of scams and threats and this type of thing. So a lot of different departments are involved with this information that's on here. You'll see on this page that it talks about reporting fraud, right? So if it's just a suspicious email, or if you lose your ID or wallet, how to prevent it, identity theft, counterfeit money. I haven't heard about those in quite a while, but only because I think so many people are going digital in a way, right? So whether it's your debit card or your credit card or that kind of thing, and that not as many people seem to be carrying cash anymore. And so going down through here in that as well, it has a tab that advises you on ways to be able to protect your financial information. Unauthorized transactions, you get some kind of a weird withdrawal or there's activity in your bank, it gives you guidance on how to deal with that. Though I think most of us would be calling our bank directly saying what the heck's going on. But this online threats, scams, and fraud is kind of a good one. The tax fraud we will go into in just a moment, but I'd just like to take you to this one first. And so this is our Get Cyber Safe page. And so on here, it's a huge national campaign that is in partnership with many different federal government departments. We have a ton of resources on here, lots of different videos. So it would take you to a YouTube channel and that, but broken down into some really, really great small snippets, right? So depending on what it is that you're curious about or the type of technology that you use, you can get information specific to that particular topic and that at any given time. As well, we have different awareness months, and it's really for any ages or all ages, and any one, I would say. It'll walk you through different questions about how to keep yourself safe. Do you have this, right? We also have different blogs because as much as we don't use things like WhatsApp or Messenger or even texting to communicate one-on-one with individuals, we do have an online presence. So we do use things like Facebook, like Twitter, like LinkedIn, like YouTube and this type of thing. But it's more for the distribution of information and to make people aware. It's more of an awareness campaign for when different things happen in that. It is not for a back and forth engagement with regards to specific information. We would always recommend that you contact us by phone directly, or if you have access through one of the secure online mechanisms for your personal information. So CRA, it would be my account, or Service Canada, be my Service Canada account, or one of those ways that you use those to be able to get specific or submit information to your personal account. Okay. So from there, I'm just going to go back now because I'd like to take you to the CRA specific information. And so now you will see that we are specifically in the Canada Revenue Agency part. So anything that you search in here will be specific to Canada Revenue Agency, whereas before when it said search canada.ca, you would get results from any and all federal departments, and that depending on the keyword that you post in there. Walks you through what are scams, how to recognize various CRA related scams, what to do if you're a victim, when to report it to the CRA, and the scam alerts. And then we do also have posters to be able to print and share. One of the most important things is to know what will CRA ask and what won't we ask. How will we conduct ourselves? How won't we conduct ourselves, right? They'll highlight in here, right, about the fact that, we will not use threatening or coercive language to scare you into paying a false debt, right? So if you get a call from someone and they're saying you owe, right, this, and you must today pay this debt, first and foremost, it's a matter of, does this seem reasonable, right? Did you file your tax return? What was the result of your tax return in that? And is there any reason why you think that you would now have a debt, no matter what it is that the individual on the phone is telling you, okay? Most importantly, though, please know we have absolutely no use for any kind of, well, number one, we don't take cryptocurrency. We're not dealing in anything like that, or e-transfers. Prepaid credit cards, though, or gift cards, CRA, what would we do with a $500 iTunes card, even if you had a real debt, to be able to, process that against your amount that might be owing on your account? But especially if you have not received a letter, you've not received any kind of notice, or you've not been contacted by us at all previous to, with regards to, a debt owing or anything like that at all with regards to your account, we would not immediately be calling you then and saying, if you don't pay it, we're going to send the sheriff, or we're going to seize and sell all your stuff, or any of that type of thing. We certainly do not ever leave personal or financial information of yours on a voicemail or an answering machine or anything like that at all. It is very typical, though, that we will ask you to verify personal information, even if we're the one calling you, because we want to make sure we're talking to the correct person, right? Because it could be, maybe I'm visiting my parents, I answer their phone, they ask for, my mother and that, and I say, yes, this is her, because my mother maybe, is unavailable, or this type of thing, right? So they need to verify that they are speaking to the correct person. But again, if you're not sure, and if they don't say why they're calling you, so let's say you've applied for something, or you've sent in a request to adjust your tax return for something. If they say to you, they ask for you, and you say, yes, this is me, so let's say, hi, is this Aimee? Yes, this is Aimee. Hi, this is an address change on your file, let's say. But I need to verify that you are who you say you are, because we have some questions, something isn't clear, this type of thing. I'm going to immediately kind of go, I did not send that in, or, oh, you did get it. Okay, good. Right. So now I know, because I initiated that action or activity on my account. But if I didn't, I'm going to be saying, oh, okay, no, I didn't do anything like that. And then most likely I will either hang up and call CRA myself at one of the published numbers that I know, and not just assume that they've called me, but to kind of find out what's going on, because it could be one of two things. It could be that the caller was fake and they were trying to get information from me through the verification process, or someone has sent something in to try and change my information and get access to my account, in which case, when I call the general inquiries line and the CRA official line and speak to someone there, they will be able to say, yes, we did get this paperwork. Did you not initiate it? And then they will be able to ensure that none of the changes do happen. Okay. So that kind of thing can happen sometimes. Ask yourself some of these questions, right? Does CRA have my most recent contact information, right? So did you file your tax return back by the end of April? Did you have a change to anything, or is everything still the same? So there shouldn't be any kind of issues in that with it. These are a number of different reasonable situations in that where CRA could be calling you, right? And then we also have a page where it talks about the different scam alerts. So any of the most current things, and of course it breaks down again. So scams by email, scams by mail, scams by text messaging or instant messaging. But so let me just take you to the scam alerts page here. Cryptocurrency ones, GST, HST tax refunds or credit ones. These will highlight for you, right? So it's how to recognize it, what to do. It links you to the official page about the initiative in that as well, so you can see for yourself. Maybe it's a matter of it, you don't get it automatically, you need to apply for it. Well, I didn't apply for it, so why did I get this text message or email saying that I'm approved, right? So then you can do some verification and fact checking for yourself in that as well. Then, of course, depending on what it is, it takes you to the what to do if you're a victim of a scam. And on this page here, it takes us back to the page that we were just on. So it talks about, right, contacting Service Canada, as I mentioned, right, with regards to your social insurance number, because they are the main ones that administer social insurance numbers, the information on there, and the validation of it. So if anybody's using it fraudulently or if anything happens with it, Service Canada is the department that you want to let know right away to report it to CRA, right? So if you've lost something and if you know that your SIN number has been used, or maybe somebody tried to apply for a credit card or a loan or something using your social insurance number as part of that application process, then you would want to let CRA know. So what would happen is we would then put information like a flag in that number has been compromised, so that we will ask extra questions should you have to call us, and that to ensure that you are who you say you are, and it isn't whoever the person is, perhaps, or maybe it's been passed along to 10 different people, right? We don't know. But just to ensure that no one gets access to be able to change anything on your account. You would know that this had happened to you, your information had been compromised. You realize that it's not just the CRA agent that's trying to give you a hard time by asking you 10 different questions to verify who you are. I'm just throwing 10 out as an example. I'm not sure how many, different questions or different specific things they will ask, but it will be more, right, than just the usual, and that just to make sure, so you can expect that to happen should you need to call us. It does also take you to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, which has a really, really great repository of different information as well. And then just very quickly, the posters to print and share, depending on what the topic is. And then they are also available not just in English and French and that, but also 9 other third languages in that as well, to be able to help some of the folks in our communities in that mean English may not be their first, English or French may not be their first in that, but we still want them to be safe in that as well. So I'm just going to quickly take you over to the page then for being able to port the information and that too. If something's happened with your bank account, or someone is trying to meet with you to exchange monies, or they're doing anything like that at all, and that's when you would want to involve your local police and call 911, of course, after you've called your bank or whatever the case may be, because once you fall victim to a scam or a fraud in that, you should be filing a police report to be able to follow up and take all the other measures that may be available to either get money back or have things stopped or this type of thing in that as well. There is a spam reporting center. There's a number of different areas depending on what the situation is with it. They do have a toll-free number, and of course the page lists the hours of service and that as well, and links you into RCMP, the Cybercrime Coordination, and the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. So this one, as well as one that's available on the canada.ca website, also gives you highlights of the impact of fraud so far. So as of June 30th of this year, over 32,000 reports of fraud versus 92,000 in all of 2022. Victims of fraud, over 21,000. It was 57,000 for the whole year of 2022. And this is the part that I find the saddest, and that with it is the amount that they're actually lost to fraud, right? The great thing, though, is they identify funds that have been recovered when the Anti-Fraud Centre has gotten involved. So it's worthwhile reporting it to them and that as well, because depending on what the situation is, they may be able to, through their investigations, that actually be able to have that money refunded back to you. We're going to go back to the CRA page, and what I'd like to do is take you to the scams and fraud part. So you'll see, again, just a little laid out a little bit differently, but again, the year-to-date information as well, sourcing from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, recognizing a scam. So very similar to the page that we had before, where we went into the tax fraud, but you'll also see here, Little Black Book of Scams. This is a really, really cool little document, again, translated into many languages, every type of scam that you can think of, but it's done very, very nicely and concise, and it's downloadable and shareable in a PDF format. So as I said here, right, messages claiming to be CRA, could be messages claiming to be Service Canada, could be messages claiming to be from IRCC, or even Canada Border Services Agency. I get those messages every once in a while from saying that supposedly from Canada Post that I missed a delivery, and so please click here to be able to speak with someone or arrange a whatever. And it's like, I have nothing coming from Canada Post. It's one of those, delete, and that's all there is to it. This one is a really good one as well. about protecting your SIN. And this is one of the things that I find sometimes a lot of people carry around their social insurance number. You may still have the red and white card. Those aren't available anymore. They stopped doing them about 12 years ago, only because people were carrying them in their wallets and if you lose your wallet or your purse or your wallet gets stolen, now they've got your social insurance number card, plus they may have your driver's license, plus they might even have your birth certificate, and they've got everything that they need to be able to impersonate you, because those are key critical documents. Please don't carry your social insurance number card with you. Please don't carry your birth certificate with you. Keep them somewhere safe. They are not forms of identification that you would use anywhere. Okay. Usually, if somebody's looking for ID, they want something with a picture and your name and this kind of thing. So it would be a health card or a driver's license or a provincial identification number, or a card type of thing in that. But please do not carry your SIN card or the letter of verification, if that's what it is that you have now, or your birth certificate on your person, because they are really, really difficult to replace if they're stolen or if they're lost. Okay, so keep them somewhere safe. This page talks about not just how to protect your SIN, but who can ask for your social insurance number, right? And if you suspect that someone is using it, right, what to be able to do. And again, it talks about the reporting the SIN fraud. It's the contacting the two major credit bureaus, because when you go to get a loan or a line of credit or a credit card or anything like that, they generally will want not just your name and your date of birth, but they want your social insurance number, because your employment and anything government related is attached to your social insurance number. So that is the one sure way to ensure that you are who you are, and the accuracy of your information is through your SIN number. Because it is possible that somebody else has the same name as you and the same date of birth as you, but they will not have the same social insurance number as you. So anybody that reports into the credit bureaus will generally use that social insurance number. Okay, so your employer would, your bank does, and that credit card companies do, a lot of cell phone companies do in that as well. They'll report into in that, and they will ask for your social insurance number to do that type of reporting. But it's not critical to have a SIN number to report into the credit bureau. So that's where sometimes if you do have a name that is more common, it is very possible that, there may be more than one Sally Brown, let's say. Only one Sally Brown will have a social insurance number, that reads a certain way. And so let's say, yeah, she's racked up bills or done something somewhere in that. If it's not the right Sally Brown, every Sally Brown could be getting that on their credit bureau report. And so that's where it's really good to keep an eye on that and make sure that there isn't anything. But that will usually be a first indicator that something has happened or been compromised with your social insurance number or your identity, is through different types of inquiries into the credit bureau system. So those are the two numbers and the two places where you're going to want to touch base with, let them know, especially if you suspect that something has happened or you've lost your wallet or something has been compromised. They will put flags on it to make it aware, so that if anybody, let's say somebody does try to get a loan or a credit card or this type of thing, whoever's doing the bank that's doing the inquiry will be notified to verify and get additional information and identification to ensure that that person is who they say they are. It can be a really good thing to protect both yourself, but also whoever it is that's doing the inquiry in there. There is a ton of really great information on the canada.ca website, but most of the time it's a matter of, please don't ever click on a link, whether it's in a text or an email. Do not ever feel that you have to act immediately if somebody calls and is being aggressive or threatening or this type of thing. You always have time, and it won't matter who it is, and especially if it's the first time you've ever heard from these individuals, right? So if you have a bill that's overdue, you know that the bill is overdue. So you could expect that, Rogers maybe is going to call you and say, hey, you're a month overdue on your cell phone or your internet or this type of thing. Well, you're expecting their call. But even then, if I'm wanting to make an arrangement or I'm going to be doing anything with it, I would say, you know what, I can't talk right now. I'll call you back when it's convenient for me, or a little bit later. And then I would call independently to a published number on the website or off of my bill to make sure, because you just never know, right? It could be that folks are just hoping that they'll get someone who is in that situation, and then they'll offer to help you to make an arrangement. Don't worry, we can take just a little bit at a time. We don't want to stress you out. well, we know, you're a valuable customer and that, but then in the end, what they're trying to do is, okay, so how are you going to make this payment? Oh, you're going to make it through your bank, or, oh, you're going to make it through the credit card. May I have that information, please? Right? We have to be extra diligent at our end too, to try and ensure the best possible outcome.